All right, let's get into it. Today, we're talking about a topic that is absolutely essential for any Navy electronics technician: administration. Now, I know, it doesn't sound as exciting as fixing a high-tech radar system, but trust me, mastering this stuff is what really separates the pros from the rookies.
So, you think the job is all about soldering irons and fancy test equipment, right? Well, that's definitely a big piece of the puzzle. But the real secret, the thing that keeps a multi-billion-dollar warship ready to go at a moment's notice, is understanding the system that makes all those repairs happen.
That's right. It's about running the whole shebang. The best ETs out there are the ones who can navigate the paperwork, manage their people, and track every single job from start to finish. They're not just technicians, they're expert administrators, and that's what makes them so effective.
So, you ready to become one of them? Here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, we'll cover the chain of command, the who's who. Then we'll get into the critical reports and records. After that, we'll talk about manning, inspections, and we'll wrap it all up with a quick recap and some practice questions to make sure you've got it down cold. Okay, first up, the people. Part 1 is all about the key players you need to know in the command structure. Let's meet the team. At the top of the food chain, you have the Electronics Material Officer, or EMO. This is the officer who's ultimately responsible for every piece of electronic gear on the ship. Backing them up is the Assistant EMO, or AEMO. And then there's the leading ET, who is the senior enlisted technician, the one actually supervising the maintenance and the sailors doing the work. These three are the leadership core of your division.
All right, so we know the team. Now let's look at the tools they use to communicate and get things done. In part 2, we're diving into the paperwork, the reports and records that are the lifeblood of the division.
And it all starts right here with the trouble reports. Seriously, nothing gets fixed until one of these is filled out. Think of it as the official starting pistol for any repair. So, for example, if a sailor notices a radar screen is glitching, they don't just shout it down a hallway. They fill out a trouble report, and that's what kicks the entire maintenance process into gear. Now, not all reports are created equal. You've got your daily 8 o'clock reports. These are your standard internal updates for the command. Just a simple, here's what's working, here's what's not. But then you have CAS reps. A casualty report is a whole other level. This is a big deal. It's a formal, fleet-wide signal flare that a piece of mission-critical equipment is down. When a CAS rep goes out, alarm bells ring and resources get moving fast.
So with all these reports and tasks flying around, how in the world do you keep track of everything? You use this beautifully simple system, the correspondence tickler file. It's basically a 3-folder system. Everything that needs to be worked on right now goes in the active file. If you're stuck waiting on a part, it goes into suspense. And once the job is done, it gets filed away and completed. Simple, right? But it's so powerful for making sure nothing ever falls through the cracks.
And here's what one of those little tickler cards looks like. See? It's nothing fancy, but it has everything you need to track a job from the moment it starts until the moment it's finished. It's a perfect example of a low-tech tool that gets the job done right.
Okay, let's zoom out a bit. All this work depends on having the right information, especially the right parts. That's where SCLIS comes in. You can think of it as the Navy's master encyclopedia for every single ship. It is the one single source of truth for all configuration and logistics data, so that when you order a part for a specific radar, you know you're getting the right one. This chart shows you just how powerful that is. Look, the data from your ship, the work you do, gets fed into this massive central database. That database then helps support the entire fleet. So when you accurately update a record, you're not just helping your ship, you're helping every other ET on every other ship get the right parts and information they need. It's all connected. So we've got the leaders and we've got the paperwork. Now let's talk about the rest of the team. In part 3, we're going to look at how a division is actually put together, getting the right sailors into the right jobs. Now pay close attention, because this is a really important distinction, and it comes up on exams all the time. There are 2 key documents for manning. First, you have the Ship Manpower Document, the SMD. This is the wish list, the absolute ideal, perfect crew you need to do the mission flawlessly. But then you have the Manpower Authorization, the MPA. This is reality. This is the list of jobs the Navy has actually funded and is willing to pay for. It's the classic ideal versus real-world scenario. And this is what that MPA actually looks like. It's not some theoretical document. It's a real list. For a supervisor, this is one of the most important documents you'll handle. It tells you exactly how many people you have and what their jobs are supposed to be. Your mission is to make it all work with the team you've got. So how do you manage the people you actually have?
That's where the EDVR comes in, the Enlisted Distribution and Verification Report. The best way to think of it is as your division's monthly report card. It tells you every single sailor you have by name, what their job is, and what qualifications they hold. It's the #1 tool for making sure your people are where they need to be. Okay, let's bring this all together. We have the team, the paperwork, and a system for managing everyone. But why? What's the whole point? Well, it's all about one thing: staying mission ready. In Part 4, we'll see how the Navy makes sure that happens.
Readiness is measured in a few really important ways. First is the 3M system. That stands for Maintenance and Material Management, and it's basically the standardized rulebook for how all maintenance gets done. Then you have in-serve inspections. Think of this as the big final exam for the ship's condition that happens every few years. Finally, there's the Fleet Modernization Program, or FMP, which is how the Navy schedules all the major upgrades to keep the fleet's technology on the cutting edge.
We have covered a ton of ground, so now it's time to lock in that knowledge. We're heading into the final section, a quick recap and some practice questions to see what you've learned.
All right, let's do a lightning round. I'll give you the term, you think of the definition. Ready? EMO, that's your top officer for electronics. CASREP, the big one for mission critical failures. SCLSIS, the master parts database. SMD, your ideal crew, the wish list. MPA, your actual crew, the funded list. And EDVR, your monthly report on all your people. How'd you do?
Okay, first question. What is that crucial difference between a ship manpower document, the SMD, and a manpower authorization, the MPA? I'll give you a second. Got it? The SMD is the ideal requirement, the wish list, while the MPA is the funded reality. It's what you actually get.
Next up, what are the 3 simple stages of that correspondence tickler file system? That's right, it's active for stuff you're working on now, suspense for things on hold, and completed for everything that's done. Nice.
Last question. Why is that SCLSIS database so incredibly important for maintenance across the entire Navy? The key phrase is single source of truth, because it provides one unified, accurate source for parts and configuration data. It ensures everyone gets the right support for their repairs.
And we'll end with this quote from the source material. It really sums everything up, doesn't it? Careful planning and professional supervision. At the end of the day, that's what this is all about. It's not just about being good with your hands, it's about being a great leader and manager. And that's what makes an electronics division truly effective. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.